You might as well just pack them all up now and take them down to the local police station and turn them in. It'll save the trouble, and it'll save you quite a few legal bills and them tearing your house apart. Because it's over. It is pretty much over, and I'm going to try to walk you through this and explain why the avalanche of gun confiscations are coming, and coming very soon. Now, this is PolitiFact, Florida, talking about this new law. I covered this issue from Lighthouse Point, Florida, where they went and they took this guy's guns that was supposedly talking crazy. They made a spitball assessment on the ground that he was mentally ill, and they invoked this new law signed by the soon-to-be senator, governor, whatever, after this issue in Parkland. Now, where is the truth community is what I want to know. Where are the people that were supposedly all up in arms over what the last administration and the last Secretary of State was going to do if they got elected and all this? They never dreamed of anything so draconian. Now, let me explain how they're going to get around this law and its own limitations. It's called the Risk Protection Law. Okay. The Post makes it seem like a man's guns were taken without reason or cause, but that leaves out important nuance about the situation. Authorities said the man voluntarily surrendered his weapons and never contested the temporary risk protection order barring him from his guns for up to a year. Now, listen to this. What they're saying here, there is no seizure authority. You can ask them to comply with the risk protection order, but you can't seize a person's guns. Really? What you're saying is that you can go up to a person who is mentally ill and then gain informed consent from them to seize their guns? You make the allegation that the person needs to have their guns taken away because they're mentally ill, but then you're going to ask them to comply with a risk protection order, meaning they would have to grant their consent in an informed way. That's not possible. You cannot get legal informed consent for anything from someone you deem to be mentally ill. So what are they going to do? Real simple. All they're going to do is say, oh, if you don't give us the consent, then we are going to go ahead and take him anyway because you're mentally ill. If you do give us the consent, we take him. So there's no way around it. If they're saying this guy gave them consent for them to go take the guns, and that he was mentally ill in the same sentence, then they didn't have the right to take him to begin with. But they already have him, so it works one way or the other. It's over. This is all they're going to do. They're going to change the complete definition of due process. You see, actually, I didn't want to go to that tab. Well, we'll start here, I guess. Very recently, this court came down and said that AR-15s don't violate the Second Amendment, the ban on AR-15s. These large assault rifles or military-style weapons don't violate that because they're beyond the scope of the Second Amendment. But doesn't the Second Amendment say, if I'm not mistaken, well-regulated militia. Sorry about that. There we go. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. What this says, what their intent was not your personal protection. This wasn't something where they were thinking about the well-being and the personal happiness of any one particular person. It, by definition, was making all firearms subject to military service. All firearms. Because at that time they were, and anybody who's ever been in the military knows that you can use just about any weapon in any given situation. But now, what they're saying is that if a weapon could possibly be used in a military setting, that the Second Amendment doesn't apply? It literally argues with itself, and I find it so ironic that the truth community is completely silent for fear of possibly making their dear leader look bad, or having this all go down under their new sheriff in town. And I'm sorry, guys, but truth is truth. And you know it as well as I do, that if this had happened, if Hillary had gotten elected, there would have been unbelievable anarchy here, especially on YouTube and everywhere else. There probably would have been, I don't know what. I don't even want to say it, but now, remember, that was supposed to be the first one. Well, now they're saying it's the first one again. Because in this particular case, apparently this guy didn't give consent. Now, what happened here is this guy got in an argument with his buddy or his cousin or whatever, 29th of March, and opened up on the guy's rear windshield of his car to get his point across. And here we are by 9th, 10th of April, and they've already seized the guns. Went into his house, took all of his weapons and everything. Now, they haven't convicted the guy of anything. They've charged him with attempted murder. I have to imagine this guy's a vet, and if he had wanted to kill the guy, he would have killed the guy. A spokeswoman for the office said a SWAT team went to Smith's home Thursday and seized the AR-15 when he refused to surrender it voluntarily. So that's what they're going to do. They're going to go and they're going to ask. And all they'll have to do is make the assessment that you're mentally ill, which won't be hard, which of course then will not give you the ability to grant informed consent one way or the other, but they'll take them anyway. So like I said, one way or the other, if they want them, they're going to come get them. And it keeps echoing in my head. Mike Pence sitting there saying, you know, we want to have responsible gun laws, and we want there to be, you know, the ability for the police officers to protect their citizens and go before court and, you know, get an order and then go in and you know, make the seizure without anybody's rights being violated. I'm paraphrasing there, but that's pretty much what Mike Pence said. And then literally, in the next sentence, the current administrator comes back with, you know, Mike, I'm a fan of seize the guns first. I'm a fan of just go in and take them and take the guns away and due process second. And still, we hear nothing from the truth channels. Breitbart even called him a gun grabber. You know, I really don't know how many more ways to show this. We have gun grabs. We have tariffs. We have all sorts of things that, if you look at the Democrat platform and the policies that they said that they wanted to have, the withdrawing from these trade agreements, it's like a Democrat's a dream. The last 16 months, 15 months, whatever. And now we're set in 2018 to probably see this giant wave of Democrats come into office all across this country and in the Senate and in the House, and I fear for the rights. I really do. I fear for the rights of the American people. It's a sad day. It really is a sad day, because now they're saying that words don't mean things, or they mean different things. And they're saying when rights are violated, they really weren't, and people that supposedly didn't have due process really did. And it's just all make-believe. It's like Bizarro World. So, anyway, I know this isn't a popular topic, especially when there isn't glowing praise for the current administration, but you gotta call a spade a spade. You gotta be able to stand up and say, this is the truth, this is what's going on, and whether in this particular case you agree with it or not, you're gonna have to wonder who's next. Who are they gonna call crazy next? How much farther are they gonna go? And what happens in 2 years when we possibly get a Democratic president? An actual person from the Democratic Party. They've moved the goalposts again like they did with Obamacare. Remember when they said, okay, it was either Obamacare or not Obamacare? Obamacare or repeal Obamacare. Those were your two choices. Now it's Obamacare or repeal and replace Obamacare with Trump care or whatever the version of right-wing nationalized medicine is. But now nationalized medicine is just a given. And that's what they're doing with guns. Now, seizing guns is a given. Now it's just going to be a matter of whether it's the right-wing version of taking your guns or the left-wing version of taking your guns. But one way or the other, they're taking your guns. So, like I said, just pack them all up and just take them down to the local police station and get your chip so that when they admit you to the FEMA camp, that you're all ahead of the game and you get the best bunks. And I just can't even. Like, share, subscribe.